It is week 2 of PFR Scoreboard on Lakeshore PBS. Tonight, we get through the second week of the high school football season. More surprises, Wayne, but more impressive performances as well.
Oh, definitely. Some very good performances and one huge surprise for me.
All that, some highlights, some finals coming up next on PFR Scoreboard.
Program support comes from NIPSCO.
Honey, who is this guy?
Oh, that's Frank. Hey, Frank.
Honey, why is Frank in our bedroom?
He's showing us ways to save money. Plus, he'll even help us install LED bulbs and new shower heads.
Oh, well, he is leaving before I shower, though, right?
To schedule an energy assessment and learn more about energy usage, visit NIPSCO.com.
Frank, could you hand me a towel?
Alrighty, week 2 PFR Scoreboard. We get rolling with some games, some highlights. Wayne, let's start with the big surprise team from last week. Could Valpo double it up week after week for the first 2 weeks of the season? Another difficult test for their defense against Mishawaka.
Mishawaka scored 47 last week, but Valpo came to play this week.
Valpo may be more impressive even tonight. Let's go to the highlights from Viking Field. The Vikings, of course, 12-7 winners a week ago in the opener to Penn. But I think this is even more impressive tonight. Jake Lefew there with a underneath route. Another one here. They had, I believe, Harper had a big night.
Yes,
but then he got banged up. And then 2 weeks in a row, the Valpo defense just very stout.
They really had a great game tonight. Valparaiso just kind of dominated that offensive line.
And I think they were running some single wing as well
like
tonight.
Yes, it was.
With the direct snap and running. That's a beautiful throw right there.
Beautiful throw. The pressure, the offensive line is really holding off the pressure for Jake. Oh,
beautiful.
nice move, nice one.
Beautiful throw into the seam there where the receiver gets open. The run game was working. That might have been Harper there. But this is, as a team that scored 47 points. Last week, Mishawaka's had a tremendous offense for years. And really a tremendous performance. It might have been Woodward there, 24 with a tackle for loss. And Valpo's got some weapons.
Yes, they do. There's Harbor Kid.
Eddie Curry.
That's right.
Can run the football.
Look at that nice cut through there.
Great success last week. Maybe a little more confident this week. Very impressive at home. Really tremendous domination here.
Yep.
Actually, Wayne, this was one of the plays. This was their only scoring drive, and they had to hit a halfback pass to flip the field. They really didn't do anything straight up against a Valpo tonight. And really to hit the halfback pass a couple times, a couple trick plays really got them on the board for the only time tonight.
That says a lot from Valpo's defense. And next week, they're at LaPorte,
right?
Okay, which is a huge rivalry. Last year, LaPorte snuck one out of there at Valpo at the very last minute.
Tommy, that's one of the shockers tonight was Hobart beating LaPorte. LaPorte made a couple mistakes inside the Hobart 5, but the Brickies ran the football tremendously tonight against the LaPorte defense. So Valpo can't get lulled into thinking that next week might be an easy ball game now that LaPorte lost their first game.
Well, it does take a little bit of the luster out of that matchup because I was looking at the schedule and I'm thinking Valpo, LaPorte, that's going to be fun. It still could be fun, but obviously a little bit of the luster taken off after Hobart's win against the Slicers tonight.
I was thinking maybe possibly Duneland Conference Championship game already in the first week of the conference season with LaPorte and Valpo, but Valpo's looking now like they're going to be the favorite, maybe, to win the conference title.
I would think so. I would think if they can get past LaPorte, the other teams, Portage lost today, Maryville. So it looks like LaPorte might be the only obstacle for Valpo so far.
They're defending champs.
And Chesterton with I think that's impressive about Chesterton is they've scored.
Yes.
They scored some points the first 2 weeks of the season.
Yes. Yeah.
They'll probably get that defense improved as the season goes on, but the offense has been impressive for Chesterton. Let's go to Wheeler, where KV was in to take on the Bearcats. This was one of those, I think, trap games in the second week of the season. Not putting maybe too much into the Rensselaer win over KV, or maybe not putting that much into the Wheeler win over River Forest last week.
Yeah.
I think this could have been one of those that maybe trapped you, Wayne.
It trapped me for sure.
Let's go to the highlights. With the numbers down at Wheeler, obviously how much depth do they have, how much ability to two-platoon, keep guys rested. There was some nice defense right there by KV.
KV's got a huge defensive and offensive line, and I think that really wore down Wheeler. This is a nice run right here. But
It's a fake kick, I believe.
Yeah, fake punt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There was special teams happening right there, and that always helps in games like this because it's unexpected.
Single wing action here for the Bearcats. And off the initial hit into the end zone for the score for Peyton Hinkle. I think we saw Jake Allen answer with a touchdown and Nick Schoonville, and it was Wheeler falling to KV by the score of 31-22. I think we've got some more highlights we're going to look at.
As a matter of fact, very important for KV to win this game because both teams go home with 1-1 records. I don't care what conference you're in, you don't want to go 0-2 going into your conference record.
No.
Conference schedule, I should say.
And I think this tells us a little bit about how good maybe Rensselaer is, too, because
that's right.
Yeah.
They really dominated the second half last week against KV, and KV came out tonight and played a solid football game to take down a Wheeler ball club that was impressive in their first week of the regular season. KV, a 4A school, bigger school. Rensselaer, of course, state champions a few years ago. Mm-hmm. They're always a solid football program.
And it's a road win, too, which is even more impressive.
Hammond at KV next week. Wheeler takes on Bishop Knoll. All right. Whiting at Griffith. This one also lulled Wayne to sleep a little bit.
This one buried me. I think the coffin was, nails were in the coffin.
Well, in all fairness to you, which I don't know whether we should be fair to you or not, but Coach Gefford did mention on the radio that they did have some offensive linemen out last week.
Yes.
And got them back tonight, and that was big for them in the game against Whiting.
The PFR Underground didn't tell me that.
Yeah. Let's check out some of the action. Tavion Walker had over 150 yards, I think, in the first quarter tonight, maybe in his first couple carries. A home opener for the Panthers, who are excited. Football is back for Griffith. Their defense impressive, their offense impressive tonight against a good Whiting team.
You mentioned Griffith getting better. How long did it take Gifford to get that team better?
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
He had one bad year. Obviously, he had to clean up a few things. The last 2 years have been pretty impressive.
Well, you're right. I think last year they really became respectable, and this guy, Tavion Walker's just been outstanding. Their quarterback, Fred Winston, is a tremendous athlete. He can run the football. They could throw the ball a little. Jared Cottrell can run it. He can catch it. He had a couple touchdowns tonight. They got a bunch of weapons. That's how you get 150 yards in the first quarter, I think, right there.
When you mention the name Fred Winston, to most people, they think radio shock jock, okay? In Northwest Indiana, when you say Fred Winston, you're talking a darn good quarterback.
I did not think you were going there. Get this guy his glasses on over here, will you? Look at that, Wayne.
Beautiful pass.
They had an aerial attack to that run game.
Yes, they did. Fred Winston threw it really well. And, I asked Coach Gifford on the radio show, Gaddafi Coleman, probably one of their stars. We hardly even mentioned
Well, I mean, he's kind of exclusively on defense unless they
Right.
are really down to their second or third option at tailback because they are able to keep him fresh. He's such a dynamic performer on defense. They're allowed to keep him rested and out there on the field. Oh, forcing a turnover right there. And taking it a defensive 6.
Wow. I mean, you're thinking, okay, if you stop Coleman and you stop Winston, we got Griffith. Here comes Walker having a big night. Here's the defense putting points on the board.
Cottrell.
The Panthers, yeah, exactly. The Panthers are a tough football team this year.
They are. They're outstanding. Just again, as he said last week, 6 students above 3A, but in 4A, they're still going to be a formidable foe. Let's go to the scoreboard and check out the finals we have in week 2 of the high school football season in Northwest Indiana. Bulldogs had some big ground games tonight as well, and their 35-6 win over Hialeah. I think Gomez had a couple of touchdowns in that win. One of the shockers, Tommy, Hobart's offensive line really responded tonight, moving the football, and LaPorte had some opportunities go through their hands inside the 5-yard line.
Well, last year, Hobart made a comeback. This year, this might have been one of those could go either way type games. If you lose it, you might lose the season. You win it, you're right back where you started last year. Big win for Hobart and the Brickies,
I
no
think
doubt.
so. This one's going to get better and better every week. When you look back on it for Hobart, a tremendous, really stopping the bad momentum after their loss to Chesterton.
And Joe, is it Hobart? You have to have Hobart winning in Northwest Indiana. You know, it's just like the Yankees in baseball.
Hey, they ended that streak of no sectionals.
No, let's not overdo it.
Wayne, I'm shocked because I thought Lake Central would put some points on the board.
I was too. I can't believe that they Lincoln Way shut them out. Now, again, I had Lincoln Way, but Lincoln Way is a darn good Illinois school. There's no doubt about it.
And those Illinois schools are big compared to our enrollments over here, and they had their way with us tonight. Let's go on in the scoreboard. Other finals we got. Penn, just a 7-0 shutout win over Maryville. I think Penn never got the ball inside the Maryville 40 on offense and won this game. They only had about 40 or 50 yards of offense. So Maryville's defense responded and played a tremendous football game tonight. Their offense didn't do much of anything, and Cameron Wright got hurt late. But
Maryville moved the ball up and down the field. You know, they really did. Gary Schultz was our correspondent.
Had a field goal blocked.
And they did. And Maryville moved the ball, but their nemesis was the turnover. They turned it over. They were offside penalties.
Well, I think it's a step forward by the defense. Last week.
I agree.
That, they came up with a solid performance tonight. Homer Flossmoor all over Michigan City, big 63-21, and Tommy Chesterton with a second straight big-time offensive game with a 33-21 win over Munster.
Yeah, you got to like what the Trojans are doing because you mentioned they're putting points on the board. They're the Duneland Conference team we're not talking about. We're talking about Valparaiso. Right. We're talking about LaPorte, but watch out for the Trojans.
You guys had some wacky reports from over there tonight.
Yes, we did.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
All right, let's move on the scoreboard. Andrean 58-21 over Bishop Knoll. This got a little iffy on the field. A hockey game almost broke out.
Really? How many people in the penalty box afterwards? Was this like the Tigers and the Yankees from yesterday?
I think 5 personal fouls and some ejections there.
Holy cow.
From what the Twitter reporting was going on. No final in on Hammond and Burbank. Bloom over Gavitt, 26-6. So Gavitt falls to 1-1. Plymouth big over Morton, 50-19. And another shocking shutout with TF South over East Chicago, 28-0.
The way East Chicago played last week, and then to look at this and have TF South beat them 28-0, I was surprised at that one.
Yeah, but you know you have to think about how tough was the team East Chicago played last week.
Not very.
There you go. And so now you're going up against a better team. Voila, you get this.
All right, more finals on the scoreboard in week 2 of the high school football season. Culver shuts out South Central. I think, is that 2 straight shutouts for Culver? I think it is. Shut out Judson last week.
That's right.
Hanover Central, or did they shut out North Newton? That's one of the two. I'm getting Caston and Culver confused there, but Anyway, it was 2 shutouts for Culver here early in the season. Hanover got 5 TDs rushing from Jake DeLong, and he also threw for a touchdown. And Brett Driscoll had a TD, 57-12 for Hanover.
Driscoll got a touchdown. Wow, hey, somebody's father's happy.
And Pioneer, 61-0 over Winamac.
Oh, wow.
Wayne snuck that pick in. Knox over West Central, 41-8. The Jays got a win after getting shut out, going for 38.
Yeah. Talk about the improvement from week 1 to week 2.
Yeah.
There's an example.
And Tommy Roosevelt, 28-14.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
I think Roosevelt won tonight, 28-14.
Hey, big win for them because they lost to their big rival Westside the week before. Considering Roosevelt's season last year, which they won only 1 game, that could have lost the season for them if they would have lost this game tonight. But they really got it done against Chicago Vocational. We'll see where they'll go from there.
Yeah. All right, elsewhere on the scoreboard, I think Westside was beaten tonight at home, 41-6. No final in Northwest in Bowman. Rensselaer had a 35-0 lead. They win over North Newton, 45-6. The Bombers are 2-0 and off to a great start. And we're going to have a timeout. We'll come back. We're going to go at our game of the night, Lowell and Portage highlights coming up of that one right after this on PFR Scoreboard.
For more information on everything Prep football, visit us on Facebook or on Twitter at PFR Sports.
Okay, we're back on PFR Scoreboard. Sorry, trying to get some more scores in, everybody.
Yeah. We've got the.
Go ahead. I got Hammond winning tonight, 58-41 over Burbank.
Lake Station, 38-23 over Clark.
Over Clark. And let's see, did we have one more we were looking for? I think, well, we'll work on that. But first, let's check out our game of the week. It was over at Portage. And Coach Kilmer was playing slide the other night, last night. Talking about slowing down Maceo, and they did exactly that.
They did exactly that, and their quarterback came back and played this week, Ethan Igress.
Yeah, Ethan Igress.
Boy, he do a job.
Threw for over 200 yards. Here we go.
8 of 10.
You know, when Lowell's been able to throw the ball over the years, they just have had another dimension to them. It makes them even more difficult to play against.
And you know, Portage last week, they lost, giving up a whole bunch of points. So defensively, they might have been a little suspect tonight, and Lowell took full advantage of it.
One more final, I think I'm looking. Bowman 20, Northwest 18.
Ooh.
So Bowman wins tonight. That's a beautiful throw by Maceo right there.
Yeah. So that's the thing. Maceo, and again, we all keep pronouncing his name wrong.
Maceo.
It's Maceo. Think James Brown. But but here's another touchdown. I believe that's Maceo right there, isn't it?
How am I thinking James Brown?
Maceo. You ever hear?
You didn't hear the radio interview.
You'll have to explain that.
I'll explain that to you later. There are a lot of people going, what's he talking about?
Well, I mean,
Ooh, nice interception
Nice pick.
there.
Yeah.
And it wasn't number 6 either. Jager Gill's just, he is outstanding. We've seen in 2 weeks what a difference his speed makes. Here's Maceo running, breaking a tackle.
Yep.
Yeah. He didn't break a lot of them. He did get a touchdown tonight, but you got to give the Lowell defense credit. They did not let that young man hurt him tonight.
Great
Right
defense
there. There's a little defense.
Jordan Justovich had 10 tackles in this game.
Wow. Big guys come up during big times, and this was a big game.
There's their touchdown. That's the Portage touchdown tonight. But really, I'm shocked. You know, Lowell to hold Portage to 7 points. That's a tremendous defensive effort.
Yeah, it really is. You know, after scoring, 45 last week? But we knew that Lowell's defense would step up much more here this week.
We did.
But,
We did?
sure, I did.
I didn't think they'd hold them to 7.
Well, I didn't think they'd hold them to 7, but still, I knew that Lowell's defense was a lot better than maybe Portage's was last week for Mishawaka.
Well, I don't know. We weren't there, Tommy, but it seems like maybe Lowell's offense, even though they threw the ball for over 200 yards, they were able to maintain the football, maybe run the ball, kill some time off the clock, shorten the possessions that Portage has or something in order to shorten the game.
Well, number one, if you're Portage, you got to find somebody outside of Maceo to get it done. You know, Maceo's the guy. Last week against Mishawaka, 5 touchdown runs. Tonight, no doubt, Lowell watched the tape and said, okay, this is the guy we're going to key on. What will Portage do to counteract that? That was the question going into tonight's game. And don't forget, Portage's defense last week gave up a ton of points.
Well, and this is something that's going to have to be something that Portage obviously thought was going to happen to them this year. To hit Angel Sanchez on the touchdown pass there, but they're going to have to throw the ball a little more to open up that running game. You saw Lowell's defense come upfield, force him to the sideline, and him and Maceo on that run. So Portage's air game, and they talked about how Maceo's throwing has improved, and we saw it right there. But they're going to have to throw the football a little more.
And good luck doing that. Obviously, they've got a very talented quarterback at Maceo, but
That's Gill.
yeah, that's Gill. Yeah,
And
he's pretty
Maceo
good.
had the angle on him there, and they still couldn't get him out of bounds, or maybe that was number 2. But I mean, play action.
Look at that. That's Gill again.
Yeah, and see, that's what we're talking about. You got to have a plan B, plan C.
No,
now, Gill would
that's
be
not-
plan A on most other football teams, but
Yeah.
because of his teammate, he's plan B. But look what's happening in this game tonight.
That's a nice throw there.
Yes, it is.
Nice catch.
I mean, they got a big tight end there, or fullback. Let's see, that's just great defense there from got upfield and turned around and came back and made the sack.
I think it was Wildman for Lowell.
A nice throw. Now Portage got the ball deep here, but I don't think they scored.
Yeah, well, they only scored once for the game,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, but again, bottom line is Lowell
This
gets
is,
it done on the
Gill
road.
again.
That's a
Yeah.
screen. That's kind of like a screen there. He just turns around and runs by everybody.
Yeah.
So that'll make your quarterback stats look
Oh,
good.
yeah. A lot better.
I threw for over 200 yards.
Yeah.
I threw it 8 yards and the guy ran 70. All right, let's check out the finals one more time, shall we? Valpo, impressive, 2-0. Big win at home, 31-7 at LaPorte next Friday night. Crown Point, 35-6 over Highland. They got Maryville, 0-2 Maryville, but the Bulldogs, I don't think are going to feel sorry for their rivals.
Yeah, I don't think so. Not at all.
Shocker, Hobart, 34-23 over LaPorte. Tommy, were the Slicers looking ahead, or?
That's a possibility. That's a possibility because I'm sure they read the paper. They know what Valpo did the week before, so it's a possibility. But you can't do that in this area. Not a good idea. Wouldn't recommend it.
Lowell 20-7 over Portage. Lincoln Way shuts out Lake Central. Lincoln Way of Illinois. Penn shuts out Maryville 7-0. So the Kingsmen are 1-1. Pirates 0-2. Elsewhere, Homewood Flossmoor, I think they won state last year in Illinois in their class, 63-21 over City. Chesterton 2-0 with a 33-21 win over Munster. Elsewhere, Andrean 58-21. Knoll maybe a better performance than last week, Wayne, but Andrean very, very impressive again in week 2.
Very impressive. They've got some offensive and defensive skilled players.
KV bounces back 31-22 over Wheeler. So the Cougars with a K, Tommy, not going to be a pushover in that conference. They're going to be a tough football team to play with.
Yeah, and like we said, you don't want to go 0-2, so that was a big win for them tonight.
Yeah, was a big one for them. All right, Hammond. We're telling you Hammond did win tonight over Burbank. Bloom 26-6 over Gavitt. Plymouth all over Hammond Morton by the score of 50-19. So the Governors fall to 1-1 on the season. Elsewhere on the scoreboard, EC shut out by TF South, so they're 1-1. I think East Chicago takes on Munster next week.
Next
Yeah,
week.
you do.
So
yes.
that'll be two teams looking for a victory. Munster 0-2, even though they were very competitive
They
tonight.
were.
And a rematch of a playoff game from last year.
Yes,
That's right,
exactly
yeah.
right. And Lake Station, that one we just got in late. Wayne, what was that, 38-23?
Yes.
38-23 Lake Station over Clark. Culver shuts out South Central. Hanover 57-12 over Calumet. Griffith, huge night, Tavion Walker 48-9. Panthers now move on 61-0 for Pioneer. 41-8 Knox over West Central. Knox is 2-0. Judson gets their first win 38-22. You know, New Prairie was beaten soundly by LaPorte. They killed South Bend Adams tonight, like 73-0. So New Prairie and Andrean next week is where we're going. Bowman 20-18 over Northwest. Rensselaer, the Bombers 45-6. They are 2-0. Next week, big games. Valpo, LaPorte, many others next week when we start the conference seasons. All right, we'll see you Thursday night on PFR on Lakeshore PBS.
Program support comes from NIPSCO.
Honey, who is this guy?
Oh, that's Frank. Hey, Frank.
Honey, why is Frank in our bedroom?
He's showing us ways to save money. Plus, he'll even help us install LED bulbs and new shower heads.
Oh, well, he is leaving before I shower, though, right?
To schedule an energy assessment and learn more about energy usage, visit nipsco.com.
Frank, could you hand me a towel?